Hello everyone, I'm Marc Rafanell López and I'm gonna do the assignment for Coursera's Introduction to Public Speaking course, that is the informative speech assignment. So, I'm gonna talk about why Germany needs to save the euro to save its health. First of all, just to make myself clear, I'm gonna argue this, I'm gonna explain all of that just basing my data and my arguments on several studies done by different economists during the recent years, especially since the crisis began in 2007. First of all, in order to contextualize some of you that may not know the exact situation that Europe is right now, I'm gonna explain you that European Union, first of all, is a monetary union, but it do not has a fiscal union. What does that imply, or what does that mean? Take an example, United States in order to contrapose with the European Union. The United States is a perfect union with it, well, in fact is a country that have several states, is a federal country but with a central government and with common fiscal policies and common, of course, monetary policy. But in the case of Europe, it doesn't happen. It has the European Central Bank, which is in charge of the European monetary policies, the common European monetary policies, but fiscal policies are left to each government. So each country have the power to do its own fiscal policies. That's a big difference. And what I'm gonna talk first is, you know that in 2007 started the financial crisis all over the world, and in Europe it hurts a lot. But that doesn't care as much because it started in the United States, and in fact it affected the whole world a lot. But many countries and many developed countries have started growing, in fact. At least seem to recovering. But Europe, what happened with Europe? In 2010, it started the European sovereign debt crisis. And it has its own name, European sovereign debt crisis, mainly on the southern countries such as Italy, Spain, Greece, or Ireland. Those countries needed some funds, some financing. In fact, Greece needed money in order to avoid the bailout. And that money came from European funds. But who put the money on the European funds? Who saved Greece from the bailout? Who saved the Spanish banks? Who put all those money? Who left all those money? It starts with G and ends with Germany. Was Germany, just Germany. Germany is known as the richest country and as the center of Europe. And in fact it is. It is the most prosperous country in Europe right now. But there are people, even in Germany, that are currently asking why we are paying for their errors. Why are we paying that money that we worked hard to get it? Why are we giving them all those money? Okay, then the answer to that is that Germany is not giving that money. Germany is giving that money not for charity, but because it needs it. Europe. Germany needs Europe, as well as Europe needs Germany. And even I would say that Germany needs even more Europe than Europe needs Germany. And I'm gonna state that because of two main points. First of all, because of the big European market, common market, okay, the big European common market, and because of the beneficial for Germany common currency, the euro. Starting for the first, the big European common market. What does that imply for Germany? Okay, just let us think. If I ask you about a country that is very important in exports, if you think, many of you may tell me probably China, because China is well known as a high growth because of the exports that it gives or that it has to the developed world, right? To the United States, Europe, Japan, all of it. Then, okay, I'm gonna tell you that China has a 30% of its GDP devoted to the exports. So exports represent a 30% of its complete GDP. So it's a lot. It's a lot because just take into account the United States, for instance, the export represents a 13%. So it's much more than double. Okay, it's a lot. It's quite high number. But let's gonna consider Germany. Germany, the exports for Germany are at 50.2% of its GDP. It represents a 50.2% of GDP. It's even more than half of GDP is devoted to the exports. So Germany is totally liable, it's totally exposed to its exports. And the main market for its exports is the European common market. So we all know that if Europe breaks, if Europe doesn't work, and there's barriers and tax barriers and all that, Germany's gonna be much damaged, a lot damaged with that, because it's incredibly exposed. It needs the common market. Referring to the second point about the euro, okay? If you are familiar with currencies, we're okay, but if not, I'm gonna tell you currencies, okay, works something like pair with the economy, okay? So if we consider the American dollar, as we said before, the American dollar, if the American economy is going well, then the American dollar is gonna go up, okay? And if the British economy is going bad, then the British pound is gonna go down, probably. The value of the British pound is gonna go down internationally. Okay, but with the euro it is a bit different. Why it is a bit different? It is a bit different because the euro is the currency for a bunch of countries, not just one country. So nowadays Germany is growing, but its neighbors like Spain, Italy, even France are not growing. Okay, economically are in a recession. Therefore, the euro is overvaluated. Look at this point. So, imagine my face is the euro. It's the situation of the euro. So, it's overvaluated. It's overvaluated for the Spanish, Italian, and France but it's undervalued for Germans. What does that imply? This implies that Germany takes a lot of productivity from that. It's much more competitive because of that. So it helps a lot. It may seem that it's a teeny thing, but it gets them a lot of advantage in the international markets and even in the European market, because even they have the same currency. Spain needed a much devalued currency. So that's a huge problem with an unbalanced situation in Europe. So, and from that situation, Germany is taking advantage for. So, just in order to conclude, I'm going to refer Germany needs Europe, and that's why Germany is saving Europe, because of the common market and its exports, that it needs a lot of its exports, and the common currency. Germany is a lot beneficiated from the common currency. So just to end up, I'm gonna say a quote that said the president from the European Bank, Mario Draghi, aiming that Europe is not gonna break and that Germany is not gonna want to break, because Germany is what it is, not despite of Europe, but because of it. Let's remember that sentence, because it summarizes everything, and that's why Germany is saving the euro, because it needed to save itself. Thank you very much.